Right on the edge. There it is. Bad mic. Bad mic. Bad mic. Hi there, I'm Farhan Zaidi, and this is, no, I'm sorry, Andrew, no, you're not Andrew Friedman.
I'm Lynn Tibbins.
I'm Randy Tibbins. Come on in.
Pull up a chair.
Sit down.
Relax down.
And let's talk Dodgers with a bad mic. This is the only video podcast
By fans
for fans of your
Los Angeles Dodgers.
Boy,
hot stove, baby.
Heating up, baby.
Can you believe
December
what
11th,
the Dodgers, well, they reorganized the whole
2014.
damn
You're
team.
going to need a scorecard to tell the players.
You got a
this
whole
season.
new team.
First of all, D. Gordon, Dan Herron, Miguel Rojas to Miami. They're gone.
Matt Kemp,
Wait a minute.
gone.
Stop. Let's pause for a second. How do you feel about D. Gordon? I mean, that's a real
I'm sad
tough
to see
one.
D. Gordon go, but look who they got for him.
Well, all right. Dodgers have acquired second baseman Howie Kendrick from the Angels for left-handed pitcher Andrew Heaney, which they got in part of that deal. From where did they get Heaney from?
They got from Fish.
For Fish. Player they acquired just hours earlier from the Marlins. That's right. Acquisition of Kendrick from the Angels and reliever Chris Hatcher from Miami. That awaits physical exams before deals become official. Official to net shortstop Jimmy Rollins.
Yeah.
From the Phillies. Are you confused yet? Free agent starting pitcher Brandon McCarthy for 4 prospects from Miami and San Diego to restock the farm system and to trade off later. And Dodgers trade Matt Kemp, that's still hanging in the balance, to the Padres for Yasmani Grandal and some pitching prospects.
And
what do you think?
Fedorovich goes with him, and so does Rojas.
Right. What do you think?
Well, you know, you don't like to see.
No, Rojas went to Miami with Herron and.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey,
you don't.
I'm confused.
You
Are you?
don't like to see a guy like Matt Kemp leave, and you don't like to see a guy like D. Gordon.
And let's stop on that for a second. People have been saying, well, you know, you got to play for the team, the name on the front, not on the back. I get that, but the thing in baseball, it's also a business, and you got to have superstars to bring fannies into the seats. Well, the Dodgers are stocked with superstars, so it doesn't matter which one you leave off. Although I know, and those of you know that Kemp was the face of the organization for 9 years.
Let me back this up just a little bit. You see,
back up.
The Dodgers are loaded with outfielders. They've got too many outfielders. Matt Kemp is not going to play in left field.
He's not going to play
center. He doesn't play well in left field. He wants to play in right field, but guess what? Yasiel Puig, he's better than Matt Kemp.
And you're not letting that guy out.
So, Matt Kemp's expendable, and you can get something for him. So, the Dodgers move him out because guess who's waiting in the wings?
Yeah,
Jock Peterson.
You know what's bad, though, about this whole thing? We got to play those guys down south 18 times.
Well, that's the only equation that really bothers me. Is
part of the equation.
Trading him to your neighbors to the south, where you're going to play this guy 18 times in a year.
Yeah,
I don't like that at all. See, now in the old days, you trade a guy to like Baltimore, and you never see the guy again. Maybe in the World Series, but
White Sox, something like that.
Yeah, you don't. But trade to the guy right in the neighbor's.
I'm not going to go in detail on all this stuff. You can read that everywhere online. But I did want to mention.
Everybody's heard.
Yeah, but I did want to mention that free agent pitcher Brandon McCarthy. You know, he's got a $48 million contract with the Dodgers. They agreed to it. The Yankees picked him up from the D-backs at mid-season last year, and for the D-backs, he was 7-5 with a 2.89 ERA. And after the trade, and at the end of the season with the Yankees, he was 10-15 with a 4.05 ERA.
Well, let's understand something here real
What's the
quick.
American League?
It's very hard to go from the National League to the American League in
yes,
mid-season.
Well, now he's back.
Mid-season,
now he's back in the
National
League, so should do better.
Should do much better.
I hope so too. All right. Let's see. Lynn was right. Kemp and Fedorovich, and a reported $30 million to San Diego for Yasmani Grandal, along with pitcher Joe Wheeland and pitching prospect Zach Eflin. It's one of the top guys.
One of the
guy you're talking about?
Yeah, top guy.
Who the Dodgers could use in a package to get Cole Hamels.
Yeah, that's
who would complete a triple ace rotation with Clayton Kershaw, Zach Greinke, and by the way, they got this other guy named Ryu out there.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's
that
pretty
would
good
be
stuff.
a super lineup. That would be unbelievable if they
now,
pull that off.
Here's the other thing we were just mentioning. The subtraction of Kemp from the glut of outfielders leaves the Dodgers with a likely alignment of Yasiel Puig in right, Carl Crawford and Scott Van Slyke in left, and some combination of prospect Jock Peterson, Andre Ethier, and Chris Heisley in center field, at least until the next trade.
Forget Heisley. Heisley's not coming up. Heisley is not coming up. But
Peterson
Andre Ethier and Peterson, that's going to be the outfield, the center field platooning, and you're going to have Yasiel Puig in right field, and you're going to have Carl Crawford in left field.
Now, we'd like to hear what you think about all this, so you can write to us in many ways. On our Facebook page, Let's Talk Dodgers.
That's correct.
On our YouTube page, even, Let's Talk Dodgers.
13.
And how about Let's Talk Dodgers at gmail.com, if you're using email. And by the way, would you like to...
And you can tweet to us also.
Yeah, that's right. At Let's Talk Dodgers or at Randy Trumpet. Now, as the dust settles on all these deals, the extreme makeover of the Dodgers,
that's right.
Team President Stan Kasten had a very interesting... quote. He had a nice quote for everybody.
Okay. What is it?
Of the flurry of transactions that have been going on. He says, quote, We feel the steps we've taken, and those to come, meaning there's more, will be extremely productive and consistent with both goals of better positioning the club to win now and in the future.
Well,
that's what they're going for.
I listened to the MLB channel last night and this morning. I was listening to all the stuff that was going on. They had some
hundreds of hours of stuff.
They had some wonderful insight and some great in-depth
interviews.
Discussion.
Real good
all
stuff. The guys were there.
So they were talking specifically about how the Dodgers don't want to be a club like Philadelphia that is so laden with big stars and contracts that they got to hang on to that no one wants.
Right, and then they get old. And they get old. They're stuck with them.
That's
like
right.
the Phillies.
So
Chase Utley.
The idea of moving a Matt Kemp out
not bad.
Is not a bad move.
And the old Branch Rickey theory of Dodgers was, hey, get rid of a guy, rather get rid of him a year earlier than a year late.
Yeah.
Matt's still got some juice. Everybody
He's still
knows.
got some juice. He's 30
gonna help
years old, just turned 30. But I don't think Matt Kemp is the Matt Kemp we saw in the early part of his career.
No, he's not.
And I don't think he's got the wheels anymore, and I don't think he has the arm that he used to have.
Well, not quite. Not quite.
No. But Yasiel Puig...
His shoulder's getting better, though, so that's...
But Yasiel Puig...
He's the man. Now, I've got to do you care out of all this.
All right, what do you got?
Matt Kemp to the Padres.
Do you care?
Yeah, I don't want to see this guy for 18
It should have been somebody else. But you know what? We had to do it to get the prospects so we can...
Right.
All right, we'll see what happens if we get Cole Hamels. That would be
See, if
cool.
we get Cole Hamels, then all is forgiven.
All right, believe it or not, we do have an injury report this time.
Ooh, who's on the DL? Me, I'm on the DL.
Well, you know, through all of this, one of the things that hasn't really been talked about, and that's why you think they're going to have more moves, the bullpen.
Oh, yeah, that's in serious need of
Well, and we had a lot of problems there.
Yeah,
a lot of injuries
serious need of upgrade.
Dodger reliever Chris Withrow, remember that guy?
Yes.
He's still recovering, just to keep you updated, he's still recovering from June's Tommy John surgery that he had. And he had surgery last week.
He's out for all of this year.
He had surgery last week to repair a herniated disc in his lower back.
Yeah, he's
Withrow has suffered from chronic back disc problems throughout his professional career.
We won't see him
The surgery
for 2
has a
years.
3-month rehab, but is not expected to delay his return to competition, which isn't expected until the middle of 2015 as he recovers from TJ surgery. So the middle of 15, maybe. Yeah,
more like
the whole
16.
Year, it's possible, but you know what? Most guys come up with a year and a half. He had it a year. But it's going to be a year plus.
It's going to be 16 before we see the guy.
But he's still a guy that can come back into the season.
Maybe.
End of the year if we're in the playoffs.
But you see, one thing that the Dodgers have going for them that's still in the mix that most people aren't talking about is that you got that Rule 5 draft coming up.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of players.
Well, they've already taken a few. There's a lot of
guys out there that are going to be in that mix that will be your stuntmen, your setup guys, your relief guys.
And you know, they said that one of the things they were lacking last year was a lot more of those kind of guys. Yeah, they had Justin Turner and Van Slyke, but they didn't have a depth of bench. Yeah. They were using more or less. I heard the quote today. They were using more or less starters to be bench guys.
Right.
And they didn't want to do that. You know, Andre Ethier is great, but he's not a bench guy. He's got to be a starter somewhere. No. So that's why you have to have guys in that role.
You got to have a guy that spent most of his career as a bench guy to know how to do it. How to be able to
Justin
come off the
Turner
bench.
could play every day, but you don't want to burn that guy. You want him to come off on the bench and do what he was doing.
Right.
And yeah, if you have to start him great, but you don't want to start for more than 4 or 5 days in a row because that burns him out.
That's right.
Can't do that. All right. So as we say goodbye to him, would you like us to play a farewell Matt Kemp home run? Because we need a Dodger home run in the offseason. Got to heat up the hot stove with some warm home runs. Here we go. Matt Kemp from the 28th of September. One of his last. The Dodger. Here we go.
On the mound. Meanwhile, Matt Kemp unloads. Deep to left field. Gone. His 25th home run. He has 89 runs batted in, and the Dodgers lead 2-0.
Now, I don't want to hear that against us. No.
I hate to say this, bro, but you're going to hear that.
Yeah, there's
and
18 games we
But
play.
I've heard from local people from San Diego that they don't have any protection for him in the lineup, so...
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. Yeah. You know, you got a guy like you got a big bat in the order now, but there's no one to protect him in front or behind him. So I'm suspicious of whether or not this guy's going to be able to produce.
Yeah, they might pitch around.
They'll pitch around him.
But you know what? He's good enough to adjust. He'll be pretty good. He'll get his home.
You saw how difficult it was for him to adjust. The beginning of last season, where he was just all over the place. He was swinging at the low outside stuff.
Yeah.
Was it? You know, so.
Yeah, whatever.
He's vulnerable.
Yeah, it could be. All right, believe it or not, let's do some fun stuff here.
Yeah.
I got some. Well, starting right off the bat, we got some stats.
Whoa,
I got two
more
good,
stats.
cool stats, and there's no games being played. So how do you get stats? Well, here's
More
how.
stats from the
guys,
deals.
well, not only that, guys keep coming up with stuff. They're digging through these guys, metrics to see what else we can find out about them. Clayton Kershaw, and we kind of knew this, but this is amazing. People say, well, what is it about giving a pitcher an MVP award because he only plays every fifth day? He's not playing every day. Does he make as big an impact as a regular everyday player?
Yeah, because
Well,
he dominates.
Well,
He dominates with the strikeouts. He dominates with the way he.
and
he
here's
gets,
the case for that.
he gives up no runs. That's
In the
domination.
entire
baby.
National League last year, one of the big metrics that, I know you don't like metrics, but here's where metrics can tell you the story. You always talk about one of the biggest metrics is WAR, wins above replacement.
Yeah.
You know who had the biggest number of WAR wins?
Let me guess. Clayton Kershaw.
8.0 was his WAR score.
Okay.
And from Baseball Reference, 7.2 if you look at Fangraphs. That's the highest in the NL. Not one position player had higher. That's why he's the MVP, folks.
Well,
All right?
I wouldn't use that as the only reason.
No, but I'm just
why.
saying there's an extra
You
reason.
see, the thing for a pitcher to be able to win the MVP,
He's gotta
you
dominate.
have to not only have won Cy Young Award and all the other stuff that a pitcher does, but you have to have that dominance. You have to have that presence. When you walk on the mound and you take control of the game like he did every time he got the ball, that's an MVP.
And when you have the
control.
numbers to back up that dominance, that's what it's all about.
The last National
21
League guy,
3.
the last National League guy to do that was Bob Gibson.
Yeah.
That guy, when he
Dominate.
walked on the mound,
1.12 ERA.
when that guy stepped on the mound, he controlled the
Right.
entire game.
That's right.
And there was no letting up.
Well, the
and he
reason
did that his entire career.
and this
too.
is what I've been trying to tell everybody out there. And to back that idea up with solid numbers, you look at a metric and say, well, here's why. He won more games for his team than anybody else out there, practically. He was single-handedly responsible.
When he stepped on the mound, you knew you were in trouble
that's
because you were going to get maybe one run.
Now, speaking
maybe
of
one run.
second stat of today, speaking of the guy that just left, we just heard his home run.
Matt Kemp.
Matt Kemp, this is kind of cool. For those of you Matt Kemp fans are going to miss him, we'll wear our retro jerseys. That's what they are now.
Right.
Matt Kemp leaves the Dodgers ranking 4th all-time Los Angeles Dodger history with 181 home runs. He was twice an All-Star, 2 Gold Gloves, 2 Silver Sluggers, and probably should have won the MVP in 2011. That's a different
Well,
discussion.
we're not even going to go there.
So, one big cheer last for Matt Kemp. Thank you for all your great years of service. We love
Great,
you.
terrific. Thank
You're
you
still
very
an
much.
All-Star.
And now I hate your guts.
All right.
He's wearing a Madres uniform, and I
All
hate
right.
your guts now.
Shout-outs. Start.
David C., Kathy E., big shout-outs to you guys.
Hey,
Also,
when are we getting those beers,
I
Kathy?
want to be able to have a big shout-out to the folks over at Flukies. Big shout-out to you guys. Happy holidays here. And go that
All
way.
right.
Who do you got?
Well, as usual, I like to look at the new people that join up either our YouTube page like we did last week or
Yeah,
our,
5 or 6 guys,
our Facebook page. We got 2 people this week, Patrick and Alexis, just this week. Thanks for joining up, guys. Let us know how you feel about our new team.
That's right.
And you can get a hold of us any way you like. This Date in Dodger history is up next, and this is the time of year when that stove heats
Well,
up.
there's
Well,
trades.
you
and
may remember this one.
signings and all
This
kinds
was
of good
pretty
stuff.
cool too. Back in 1987, on this date, December 11th, the A's. This is one of those turnaround. Let's get this guy and deal him off again. The A's obtained Jesse Orosco from the Mets. Then they trade away the southpaw reliever along with shortstop Alfredo Griffin and right-hander Jay Howell to the Dodgers for Matt Young, Bob Welch, and Jack Savage. Bob Welch did great for the A's.
He did great.
Of course, so did Orosco for the Dodgers, and Jay Howell pitched in the World Series.
Well, Bobby Welch was ice water in the veins in the
Yep,
78
yep.
and 7,
Yeah. And he
77,
won 20
76.
games a couple years in a
Yeah,
row.
so he was a great pitcher.
And New York got Savage as well as right-handers Wally Whitehurst and Kevin Tapani, who he later got
That was
later
a big
from Oakland.
blockbuster
to
deal
complete the
back then.
3-team, 8-player trade in 1987 on
Yeah,
this date.
big
that was it.
blockbuster
Yep,
movie.
that's the stuff. What else you want to talk about? Anything? Is that it?
Well, I think the Dodgers retooled themselves very nicely.
far?
I like what they did up the middle. I still think the Dodgers need a third baseman. I don't like Juan Uribe.
Well, he's there for one more year, so you don't have to worry
But
about it.
I think the Dodgers are making a big
Will they
mistake.
deal
keep
him?
him.
Will they deal him at
Well,
midseason?
I don't know.
Will they deal him before the season?
I don't like to see position players dealt in the
Yeah.
middle of the year for another guy.
Because
that
it's
you
hard
don't
to
know.
get into
very
the
hard to get into
groove,
the
yeah.
rhythm because you didn't gel with the team.
Yeah,
didn't
you
come out of
need a
spring
long
training.
time, right?
Right.
Well,
It's
they could
very
they could
difficult.
still deal him before springtime, but
I'd
then
like
you still
to-
got a rush job.
I'd still like to see the Dodgers make a move for a third baseman because we haven't had a quality third baseman.
He's
in a lot
not
of
bad. He
years.
was one of the better fielders at third base this year.
But his bat was weak.
Wasn't
you
terrible.
you need a power bat in third
Well,
base.
he's not terrible. He could have been better. You're right. He's a little older. But I don't know. Maybe we should have gotten Sandoval.
Look, in Juan Uribe's career, the year that he won the World's Championship with the Giants, when he was with the Giants, and the year before last with the Dodgers, were the 2 best years of his career.
Possible.
So, I need someone else with a little more stick.
All right, we'll see what happens.
Good glove, but more.
Who's
more
out
stick.
there?
Well, that's the whole problem.
That's the problem.
Do we have anybody in the minors? You'd think that there'd be a stack of guys out there, trying to break in.
But they want to win now and win in the
Well,
future,
let's
too.
see.
So no guys are quite ready. But we'll see. We'll see. All right, I think that's going to do it. One more thing. Don't forget. Oh, a couple of things. There's a great interview with Stan Kasten yesterday on Dodger Talk. You can get it from the podcast, KLAC. Adrian Gonzalez in Chan Ho Park, January 17th at the Frank & Son Collectible Show. And, of course, Dodgers Fan Fest, Saturday, January 31st, 2015. That is going to do it for us.
Yeah, let's
what do you
rock
think?
on out of here.
You think we got a pretty good
Well,
team going?
Look, on paper, everything looks great, but all bets are off until the first games are played in April.
That's why you got to play all 162
That's
of them.
it, baby.
All right, this is Randy.
This is Lynn.
Come on back next week.
Pull up a chair.
Sit down, relax, and
down. Let's talk Dodgers.
I
Bye,
love
everybody.
LA.
Go LA.
Go LA.
Yeah, I love LA.
I love LA.
There it is, right
That's
there.
it.
I love LA. Bye-bye.